Thank you, Nina, Leanne, Steve, Amy, Mara. I tell people sometimes that I'll put a word in with somebody about the weather. I didn't pick today's weather, by the way. But if I could have, I would have picked a gray, rainy day for the day in which we compare and contrast the idea of the third chakra, the solar plexus chakra, with the teaching and unity of the ideas of strength and wisdom or judgment and order. Because the third chakra really informs our sense of empowerment in the world, how we get around in the world, how strong is our self-esteem, and so we sometimes give our power away, don't we? Or maybe you know people. I've done it before, and you might wake up and say, "Oh, it's a gray, rainy day. It's going to be an awful day. Oh, yuck!" We've given our power away. But what we want to know, what we want to remember and remind ourselves is that we are powerful beyond measure, as the opening reading said. And that's what we're about today. So I love the fact that the color that represents the third chakra is yellow. It's alive, it's vibrant, it's sunny, it's just powerful, it's dynamic, it's bright. And on a day like today, a little bright's going to go a long way. So there you have it. We want to talk about that. And when we are talking about this talk, we need to put it in a context. So there are 7 chakras. They have different colors. There's lots of different ways to analyze them. The root chakra is the red one, and that's our origin stories, where we come from, how we see the world, our family, our culture, what shaped us. And I compared that to the teaching in the 12 powers of the faculty of elimination, because as we grow and mature as human beings, there comes a time when we have to look at our inheritance from our culture and our families and decide, what is this that really actually represents me, and what do I need to release? It's not really my truth. It's where I came from. It might be my story, but I don't know it anymore. So we release that. Coming up a little higher, as the kundalini rises, as energy rises on our path to enlightenment, we find the sacral chakra. That's the orange one, a little more seasonal color than yellow, but that's all right, we'll go with it. And in that chakra, that's where we begin to make relationships with people. And we talked about how in unity, that is likened to our faculty of life, how we are adding to life by our relationships and understanding how we make boundaries and how we define ourselves vis-a-vis the relationships in our lives. And there's a lot more we could say about that. And so now the energy rises on our path to evolution, to even enlightenment or self-actualization or self-realization or Christ consciousness, whatever you want to call it. And we get to the solar plexus chakra. That's this bright light. So think of the word solar. And the Sanskrit word is Manipura, which means multifaceted or lustrous jewel. It's bright, it's shiny, it's energetic, it's powerful. And so what we're talking about as we grow our awareness of the energy of this chakra is, how do we relate to the world, not just to our families, not just to relationships, but to everything. How are we expressing our self-esteem? How are we showing up? How are we owning our own personalities? How are we getting around in the world? How are we using our power? Part of that relates to what we talk about when we talk about the 12 powers in unity, is wisdom or judgment, which isn't just about thinking it through. In our unity context, when we talk about wisdom or judgment, we're talking about tuition, the things we learn from outside, not just what you pay to go to school, tuition, and intuition, the voice of spirit, the wisdom within us. And we're talking about also related to that order. Order is a creative process. And these two faculties we experience often as gut feelings right here. Have anybody ever had the feeling in your life or an experience where something just did not feel like it was in order? You felt it right here in your gut. And you walk into a room or you see people talking or you just know something's amiss. It's our faculty of order. Or when we talk about wisdom or judgment, sometimes we get gut feelings. Very similar experience. Gut feelings. Like I had a notion, I had an inkling, I knew something about that. And in the unity teaching of the 12 powers, Charles Fillmore, co-founder of the unity movement, centered those powers in the body right in the same sort of solar plexus area. The third one we're talking about today is the faculty of strength, the capacity to be strong, to stick to it, to persevere. In the unity teaching, that the energy center was in the lower back. And if we are to grow and to mature, we must have strength. We must have strength of character. We must understand that we will face challenges in our lives. And sometimes you just got to lean in and keep going. That's what we're about. We want to look at these idea of the third chakra, the faculty of order, the faculty of wisdom, the faculty of strength. Now, how to do that in the remaining time that we have? Well, we extend our time, so I'm not going to be done till about 4 o'clock. Actually, let's take about 3 minutes and watch a quick video. And as you watch the video, think of everything I just said, and think about what you're watching on the screen. And there's something within you, I hope, that will go, that's it. Roll tape.
The little engine that could. There once was a train full of important toys. It was trying to get to the next town over, chugging and huffing and puffing through the countryside. But then it came to a large hill. It tried to go up once and slid back down. It tried again and got farther up this time, but still couldn't make it. It tried yet another time and slid again. The train knew it wasn't going to be able to make it over this hill all by itself. "Help! Help!" the train cried. A large black train rolled up next to them. "Please help us," the train full of toys said. "We can't make it over this hill by ourselves." The black train took one look at them and said, No, I can't help you. I've been busy all day and now I need to rest." And it rolled right off to the train station. The train full of toys waited for what felt like hours. Finally, another train pulled up. This one was big too, definitely strong enough to pull them over the hill. But when they asked for help, this train disappointed them too. "Oh no, I can't help. You are far too heavy for me to pull." And it too went straight to the train station. Another train came, and another, and another. All of them looked big enough to pull the train full of toys over the hill, but none of them helped. Then a small steam engine rolled up beside them. The train full of toys knew that this steam engine was too small and felt so defeated that it didn't say anything. Then the little engine spoke. "Do you folks need some help?" "Yes," the train said. "Let me try," said the little engine. The train wasn't so sure about this one. "I'm a very big train. I'm not sure you could pull us." The little engine thought for a moment. It sized up the bigger train and then said, "I think I can." So the little engine hooked itself up to the front of the train and began to pull. All the while he said, "I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can." Then the hill got steeper and the little engine wasn't sure it could go another inch, but it still puffed on. "I think I can." And suddenly, after all of that hard work, the little engine's faith in itself paid off. They made it over the top of the hill and zoomed down the tracks and got the train full of toys where it needed to be. And all the while, the little engine said, "I knew I could, I knew I could, I knew I could."
Now, I know some of you might be thinking, is he really going to waste our time with a children's show? No, because this is not wasted at all. Everything about the third chakra, about the faculty of order, strength, and wisdom, judgment, is right here in a children's slide. We're not going to use the slides today, in a children's video. We begin with the acknowledgement that the sun is in the picture, the solar plexus. There's a power within us. There is a dynamic power that we will be accessing. The idea of order comes up when the first train was not strong enough to go up the hill. The first train had not done its homework. There was a creative process, a task to get over the hill, but didn't figure out the weight of the load and the power of the engine. It was disordered. It hadn't quite done its homework. Something was wrong, and she knew this as soon as she started going up the hill. We always know when something's out of order. We just feel it. So then she used her faculty of strength and did something that many of us refuse to do. Asked for help. How many of us think it's a sign of weakness to ask for help? How many of us are told you need to be strong, you need to be a rugged individual? What's wrong with you if you ask for help? It is a sign of strength to ask for help when you need it. Because that's using your wisdom to say, hey, if I get some help, I can get this done. So she asked for help. And you might say the other trains that didn't help were being mean. No, they were using their strength and their wisdom too, and their sense of order. As the first train said, I'm tired. I need to rest. I'm acknowledging my own needs in this situation. And it went off and got the rest it needed. How many of us continually say yes to things? Yes, 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 I'll do it. I'm so full of resentment. I hate those people. Well, what happened? You weren't using your strength like we talked about last week. Bring up that notion of boundaries and just gave in and caved. These other trains were not doormats. They were modeling for us healthy boundaries and healthy levels of self-respect. I need to get some rest. I need to do what I need to do to recover. Just as the first one asked for help, and she kept asking for help. Well, then along comes this little steam engine that could. And that little steam engine lives and resides within each one of us, and we call it inspiration, or sometimes intuition. How many of us have ever gotten a little, still, small voice that has said to us, try this, do that, give it a shot, you could do it. And we hear it and we acknowledge it and we say, oh, heck no. We've developed so much inertia that we can't go up the hill because we have been telling ourselves, or other people have been telling us, you can't, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, don't even think it. You know, that solar plexus energy is a dynamo, steam leading to esteem, a little steam engine. You know, I had a friend of mine who was one of these organizational consultants, and she went to a workshop once, and the presenter said, what four-letter word leads to the greatest level of self-esteem? And every hand in the room went up, and people said, love. And he goes, no. And every hand went down. And like a good presenter, he allowed a pregnant silence and said, I believe the word you were looking for is risk. Taking well-planned, thought-out risks leads to healthy self-esteem, leads to a sense of trusting our capacities and our intuition and our inherent wisdom. And I'll tell you something about taking risk. I've done it any number of times and failed. But Thomas Edison did too. He was the biggest failure who ever lived. Most everything he touched didn't work. Still, try it this way. Try it this way. Keep trying. Persevere. Use your faculty of strength. It's not just physical, it's emotional, it is spiritual. Sometimes you just got to persevere. And so when we begin to allow ourselves to take risk, even if people around us say, oh, you can't make money at that, that'll never fly, we've never done that, that doesn't work, we still have to do it. We can't make that state of Christ consciousness, enlightenment, self-realization, self-actualization, wherever we're going with all this stuff, unless we learn to trust something within ourselves, that little voice that's begging for our attention. And even if we've turned it down and turned a deaf ear for our entire lives, we have to stop that. That's what this solar plexus energy, this life energy, this light is all about, this dynamo, this steam leading to esteem. Take a risk. Try it. Don't be stupid about it. Give it some thought and then do it. You know, Anthony went out, and I have permission to tell this story, to solicit prizes for bingo. We had this wonderful bingo. Gosh, I wish you all were here. Come back next January. It's a hoot. So, and bring your friends. So he decided, signed up. There was a little voice inside of him that said, "Go get prizes." Not his natural thing to do. I'll just say that. And he tells this story about the first time he was about to go into a business, got his letter in hand and his bingo information, well armed, well prepared for the pitch. How frightening it was. And then went in and did it. And didn't get struck by lightning. I don't know if the first one was a yes or not, but I think it was a no. It's like, yeah, it was a no. Tried it again. Got to the point he came home and said, you know, I'm really glad I did it. There was something within me that said, this is mine to do. It is a hugely important act, not just because we made nearly $1,000 last night. Yay. But in life, sometimes we're going to need to do something bigger than solicit bingo prizes. Sometimes we're going to have that important conversation, or take that risk, or leave that job, or enter that program. We can do that when we are willing to use our inherent power to transform and make a difference and engage in the world. And as we do that, our self-esteem grows. And as our self-esteem grows, our intuition seems to get better. Because we have decided to make a relationship with ourselves on a deeper and more important level than ever before. This isn't going to happen all at once. It is an ongoing process that requires practice and patience and compassion. And it is so worth doing. So here's your homework. Everybody gets homework. So write it down or just remember it. Do something this week that either frightens you, don't be stupid about it, but frightens you, meaning I've always wanted to, but I've been afraid to. Do something this week that does that. Those of you who are afraid of singing, Amy has a place for you, 7:30, right here, Wednesday. Or try something knowingly different than you've done it before. I'll give you 2 examples. Sometimes what I do, sometimes if I feel like I need more courage or I need to break out of my mold, I will brush my teeth with my non-dominant hand. Yeah, so, and then I go back and use my other hand because you don't want to miss a spot. But it is a symbolic act where you say, I'm very consciously working some root chakra, some solar plexus chakra energy to do something I've not done before, just to push myself to get out of any ruts I might be in. And sometimes when I'm at the gym and I'm doing lunges, my natural habits always start with my left leg out first. I did the unthinkable this week. Put my right foot for. Oh my God, I don't even know if I can do this. Well, I survived. But it's something meaningful, something symbolic that I'm very consciously doing that is different than what I have done before. Because I want to access my power. I want to be able to show up in the world in an empowered way. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be something. There was a wonderful quote by a man named Roy Bennett who talked about how we can create miracles in our lives. I'm going to paraphrase it. You want to create a miracle in your life? Anybody? Is it just me? Okay. At least some of you. Thanks. Want to create a miracle in life? Do something you never thought you could do. And it doesn't have to be big and huge. It can be brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand. It can be putting your pants on with the other leg first. Something to break us out of our habitual thought process. Something to stretch our horizons. And something that will allow us to grow our level of self-esteem and self-respect. When we do those things, the whole world benefits. And as that song said, we are made stronger. We are made more powerful. And ultimately, as we know our empowerment, we are much more peaceful. Peace be with you and namaste.